Dummy Switch Pod. The
Yes,
boys are back.
Sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How are you, Chris?
Kudas, I'm good. Win is a win, no matter how ugly and how beautiful it became at the end. But yeah, I'm good, man. How you doing, bro?
Good myself. We'll definitely talk about why it got a bit beautiful. Why it got beautiful at the end. We've got to discuss that. But I'm good myself. The Dan Carters of podcasting here to give you our opinions, our flagrant takes, and of course, subscribe, like, and share your comments, share your views. Church announcements. Obviously, you can find us here, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and yeah, no team out as we've become accustomed to on big weeks. So I guess if we're gonna talk team news, the only real team news, or the one that's kind of sprouted itself on socials today, is whether you're gonna go with Sasha and Mani, or you're gonna go with Sasha and Polly's.
Quarters for me. Look, like I say, this team is a regiment. They're well drilled. They know there's an Alpha Bravo Charlie team. For the situation. So for this situation, we need the Alpha team. We know what Charlie can give us. Charlie, we saw even on the weekend in terms of the conditions. We know, but nah. Look, I don't think you change anything. You don't change the Sasha and Libbok. You've given them a go. They showed you what they can do against France. They've shown you against New Zealand. Let them show us again against Ireland. Why not? Yeah. You know what I mean? We need to see, and they need to be tested definitely in that type of game away from home. So yeah, let the boys play.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely trolling by wearing an island hat today. I'm definitely trolling.
I'm not saying anything.
my support is definitely behind the box. I'm definitely trolling. But yeah, I think you go Sasha and you go Libbok. If you're scared, you go Pollard. Yeah. And my thing is also, if you're gonna go on history and tradition, then you go Pollard on the bench. Yeah. But if you're going to go off of the last game and what we saw, and if you're going to go on this end of your tour and what we've seen, then you have to go with Sasha and you have to go with Libbok. Yeah. Nothing against him. But even in this Italy game, one of the big factors for me was that the game only started going properly once we got our kicking game right. Yeah. And, I mean, it's not all down to him. It's also down to Fairflight in that the box kicks weren't exactly accurate all the time. Pollard did have the good high bombs, but we saw a different thing once there was a change introduced.
Yeah, but look, it was always going to be the case, because we know what we've seen the product before this past weekend. Look, it was always going to be the changes were always going to be made. Number one. It was always going to be a tricky game against Italy because they played us. They would have learned a lot of things, and they're at home. It just so. Yeah, I can understand. That things weren't working as well. Up until the changes came on. But that's the whole point of it for me. That's why I say this is a regiment. You know what I mean? They knew the type of assignment. And the way that the Boks play, not everybody is going to play week in, week out. Yeah. The way that the Boks play with that physicality, trying to play with that tempo that we see in the second half. So, look, for me, you can see the difference and what we saw in that when the changes came on. That's entertaining. We want to see that, the tempo. We want to see, because the Boks are very good at that, and right now, when they get into that mode, they become virtually unplayable.
Yeah, just an overview of the game that was, and that a lot of, especially in the first half, the Boks, they had possession and they didn't have territory, and they couldn't find ways to progress the ball upfield. A lot of that was due to the kicking game, and we weren't as accurate with that kicking game as we would have liked. Yes. And like I said, it's not only down to Polly's, but it's also down to Fairflight. But I'd say they got it half half. And the more that we played, the more that they kind of were able to progress. And you saw towards the end of the first half, that was again from being able to push forward, push forward, push forward.
Yeah.
The other thing also was red card. We'll discuss further, but because of the red card, our scrums were now under pressure, and that's again set piece is vital. It's we weren't getting go forward. Set piece is now all of a sudden a problem. These guys prove that they're different. We're not gonna. We could do 7-man scrums against France and get away with it, and even dominate. Here, it wasn't the case. So, although Italy did look like they were scrumming inwards.
Yes, I wanted to say.
Yeah.
That. I was waiting to say. Look, yes, because the pressure was there, but the cause of that pressure for me, it wasn't always a legal picture. I don't know. I'm not like we. The refereeing podcast, but the referees are increasingly they want us to talk about them too. You know, they are saying, guys, I'm also here in the middle. Talk about me because I'm a star as well of the show with the TMOs and whatnot. Because man, like some of the decisions that that have been made, the inconsistencies again, it's within the law, and the law is the law. But then the different people are applying the law differently, especially when certain teams are playing. And for me, yes, the scrum, they were scrumming in, you know, and that's why it became what it was, you know. Eventually, yes, we started getting the parity that we deserved, you know. But yeah, look, it's just it's poor, man. You know, that red card, is it really a full on red? Is it? You know, like there's so many things, you know, like, but yeah, man.
Yeah, if we get deeper now into the game, if we just talk backdrop of this game, third time meeting Italy this year.
Yeah.
Italy, I think they had, was it like not many changes? I think 1 to the starting lineup.
Yes.
Boks only kept 4 of the starting lineup.
11,
Yeah, and then it's 11 changes. I think the guys that stayed was Sia, Fenta, Willemse, and Arendse. Willemse, very big part of the win and a very big stabilizing factor in that you change 11 people.
When we went down to 14.
Yeah, he should have had a broom the way he was cleaning up at the back. Everything, especially in the first half, he was just cleaning everything up. Other things for starting lineup, we got Hooker at 12, Moody at 13. We wanted to see more, but we didn't see more because red card. But before we go to red card, no Hooker as well. Van Staden was supposed to play Hooker at some stage, but again, red card robbed us of that. Early on, Italy disrupting us at the breakdown when we did get go forward. And that was even few and far between because we couldn't get go forward. And I felt like the defense was good. In the air, they were competing just enough to put us off, and we weren't accurate enough. And then that's when the red card comes in.
Yeah, but again, it was always, they were always going to want to start big, you know, and bring the intensity. I mean, you're playing the world champions, you know, so they know that regardless of who the Springboks put out, this is still a Springbok team that you have to go out and play and fight for everything. And you saw how that game started. They weren't allowing us to sort of get our game going. We didn't help ourselves with the mistakes. Yes, you can say maybe the conditions had a bit of a part to play, but all in all, the pressure that Italy were bringing, you know, early on and the competing. So for me, that was sort of expected. It was just a matter of, okay, when are the Boks going to sort of gain the control, you know, of the game and then start playing? And we saw a bit of that, you know, because they got themselves into positions, you know. So for me, I think, although it wasn't the best, you know, and yes, all that pressure resulted in I don't know, red card. Like, even when you look at it again, it's just, but it, like you said, it robbed us of a lot of aspects that we were looking forward to in the game, because a lot of adjustments needed to be made. And credit to the Boks, they made those adjustments, and also to Italy for bringing that, you know, bringing the respect to the test. You know what I mean? To say we're going to fight and, you know, try and match these guys as best as we can for as long as we can. But, you know, no firepower.
Yeah, just going over that red, Mostert red, straight down to 14 men again.
Yeah.
2 weeks in a row. Second week in a row, it's a lock as well.
Yeah.
Second week in a row, no clear rap, and it seems like that's the thing where it's like you didn't even try. Second week in a row where there's also another tackler there, but he wasn't really dropping, so I can't even give him that and say he was dropping. But yeah, at least for a second week in a row, it wasn't Sia that was hooked. Yes. This time, Ben Jason Dixon. Unfortunate for him. Yeah, I know he's gotten his chance, and then he's been taken off. But I think that was a theme throughout this game where you've got Pothen gets hooked, then Bone Fenter gets hooked, then Edwin van der Merwe gets hooked. Then it's halftime, all of a sudden Bone Fenter is back on, Edwin van der Merwe is back on. It's just chopping and changing, but good decisions. Second week in a row as well, when we've been down to 14, good decisions and decisions made at the right time. Yeah. It was chopping and changing and this guy in, this guy out, but ultimately it worked. So you have to commend the coaching team there. Even the defense, it did look like we were under pressure at times, but we held them to such a low score, especially when you look at to halftime.
Yes. You know, especially that. You know, I think the defense, as much as, yes, they got to score, but I think for me, the defense the past few weeks has been really standing out. At some point in the season, I was a little bit concerned about the defense, the shape of the defense, how teams are able to exploit us wide. You know, I still think there is a little bit of vulnerability there. Don't know why. Maybe we'll see Ireland trying to do something there with the kick, depending on who's getting picked. But yeah, it's what you call it. The execution, number one, that you're looking for, you know, and just in terms of how they're able to make those plans, you know, like you say, you commend the coaches, but watching the after match press conference, you know, because I've been wanting to like sort of understand a bit more, you know, it was, like what was the thinking behind that, and it's input even from players, you know, from input from guys that were not even in the match day 23, guys that are, and that's why I say this is a regiment, you know, because it's information where guys are sharing their different views, especially even the senior players, and this is just from what they said, you know. So to do that, for me, I kind of like that, because it shows that, you know, they within the game thinking about solutions, trying to find, and everybody understands what it is, you know, because at the end of the day, the objective, you know, is to get the win, and that's what the public wants. They know that, and they also, I think deep down, they also know that, you know, this thing with these red cards, and, you know, it's like backs against the wall every single time, and I don't know when are they going to learn that no matter, this team has got something that I think you haven't seen in a lot of professional sports teams in a while, you know, where they can just always be, you know, in tough positions and, you know, win. And I'm not talking about tough positions via scoreboard, but just, you know, you getting red cards week in, week out, and you're able to adjust, make those plans. So, yeah, man, you know, there's a lot to like about how they handled that situation, which ended up in them getting the result.
Yeah, and like I said, first half, there's things that we had, there's things that we didn't have. We didn't have go forward ball. What we did have is a stable line out. For example, Krobbies. What Krobbies doesn't bring in taking the ball up, the line out was stable. Yes. We did, then the aerial battle, in the beginning it looked like it was a 50-50. The more the game went on, the more it looked like we were disrupting them more in the aerial battle. That's where you've got Edwell going up, you've got Hooker going up, you've got Moody going up, guys that are all good in the air. They're disrupting. We get territory, and that's how we score. Is we get territory, we get somehow a turnover in possession, whether it's a scrum, like the first one, it was a free kick from a scrum, or it was a line out, they maybe missed out numbers or something like that. So if we're in that area, that's when we can play. And towards the end of the second half was the only time where we were getting in that area, and then we could play. And then you saw Polly's drop goal, erased, but he took it again.
Yeah.
You know, he got going.
They should have just let that go.
Yeah, they should have. But I understand it's a technicality, so it is what it is. Yeah, they let a lot of things go. And yeah, moving on to the second half, I just feel like again Van Staden yellow card scrapped his plans to move to hooker.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like we just piece by piece, we got the territory, we got the upper hand. Italy fought back, but ultimately by then, and also by then you've got Libbok coming on, and you've got Libbok also. Libbok once he gets it going, he gets it going. Yeah. And again, once we get territory, because if you look at that Moody try, we were deep in their half. They kicked it to halfway, then we can play. Yeah. So that's when you see those kinds of things happening. When we deep in there, so we want to play around that halfway mark, and we are finally allowed to do things like that. Yeah. So okay, the injection by Kwacha, he played well. He spurred on a lot of things, and I don't want to be maybe too harsh on Pollard that maybe if he had that territory, he could have done better, but he didn't. So I've just got to go with what I saw.
Yeah, and look, I mean, not being too harsh. I mean, you could see he did try. I mean, he had the one carry where, for me, it wasn't. I don't really want my 10 carrying too close there by the rack, but you know. And early on, he tried. There was that one skip pass that he was trying to get space on the outside. You can see that he is trying that, and I think yes, maybe with that territory, he was definitely going to do better. You know, because a guy like Willemse was having a blind over game as well, coming into the line and, you know, calling for the ball. You know, the communication between your decision makers, 9, 10, 15, and even, you know, the midfielders. Yeah, maybe he's unlucky, but this is what it was. You know, where with the guys, the injection that came on, I think that's the difference, is the firepower, especially in the pack. Because you see that intensity lifts, and yes, that intensity lifts, but I bring it down to the halfbacks as well, where 9, you know.
Yeah, because Grant Williams then came on.
Yes, you know, he brings that tempo, and there's that directness of play that comes in because they know that this ball is coming out, you know, and with Libbok there at 10 as well. So yeah, look, maybe Pollard unlucky that he's not sharing some of that, but maybe that tempo for him is just not, and for a different assignment, you know, it works out. But it's still, definitely the value is still there that he brings, you know. But I look, like I said, this is what it was, and this is what we've got, and it would be foolish to not want to use and unleash this against the Irish, you know.
But even again, it's like we can't. 11 changes. And we're complaining. This is the side that beat Australia last week. So I guess we also have to manage expectations to say there were going to be some stuttering points. They weren't going to be seamless in just going out there and putting on a full out performance. So for what it was, for the changes, it was a good performance. For the red card, it was a good performance. Looking forward now to this coming week, my whole thing is that where Italy disrupted us was we had no go forward. A big part of that is because you're going to get a guy like Jasper Visser playing in that game. So that's where we're going to get go forward. You're going to have a Peter Steph du Toit. That's where we're going to go get forward. So not too worried about that. Where else they disrupted us was the breakdown. Again, maybe that's kind of down to changes. You know, there was 1 or 2 times where the props were late in cleaning or the Lucy's were late in cleaning. So breakdown, have to watch out for that. And then the third area where they disrupted us was early on it was like 50-50. And then obviously they can play. Ball in hand, they can play. I won't lie. They're also punishing us there, ball in hand. They're also punishing us. So that's those, but it's those areas where we need to make sure that it's less of a contest and we dominating in those areas. The scrum, I'm not even really going to mention that much because down to 7 men and they were going sideways, so it's not. But I mean, those 3 points for me, if we manage those And for me, especially the aerial battle, fixing the accuracy when it comes to the box kick, so that we can move forward, so that we can suffocate them. Because that's what all that happened in the last 10 minutes is that we got and then we suffocate you. Because we're going to run.
Subdue and penetrate. Subdue and penetrate, because that's the thing. You numb the opponent and, you strike. And once the Boks get that going, and like I agree with you with all those points, especially the breakdown, because, the Irish, they naughty there at the breakdown, if we're being honest. And some of the things they let go. So, this one is definitely, it's going to be not just only that, it's also trying as best as possible to keep the referee out the game, and trying to be as accurate as possible in execution, and especially on those kick chases, and like you said, the moving for the territory, because I think if the Boks can have that and have Ireland locked down, I don't see them having too much to be able to sort of break out unless we are completely lethargic and we're not up for this game. For me, it'll be a tough one, but the Boks should do. They're gonna do it again.
Yeah, closing remarks. Just World Player of the Year nominees.
Ox for the win.
Ox for the win. I think.
The chairman.
Yeah, the chairman. Ox for the win. Peter Steff. He's a mainstay there in nominations. Marks, but lucky. But I'm never gonna knock the guy. Ox for the win for me.
Because you can see the real difference, and not knocking anybody, but you can see the real difference when Ox is there at Lucid, and when there's somebody else. It's like, you can see the chairman. There's an interim chairman, right? You know what I mean? You can tell there's an interim chairman. So I think deserve it, because he's a big part of how the Boks play, not only in the scrums. That's the thing that people sometimes overlook. He's also key in getting that ball out, those passes, getting the number 10 running behind the back. So he's important in the Boks game plan. So Ox for the win.
Yeah, Ox for the win. And I think that's it from us also. Dummy Switch Pod for the win, Boks for the win. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for listening. We're out.